Now it's time for Poly Nonsense.
But CNN ain't, their hands ain't clean. You know, like they.
Definitely not.
One sort of digital superintelligence, basically digital God.
What do you want people to think about those allegations? What is it important?
I really, at this point, I think most well-meaning people understand it for what it was. It was a weapon to destroy me.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to another snappy rendition of the Poly Nonsense podcast, hosted by Captain Kirk.
That's me.
Monsieur Weber.
What up?
And I am some guy named Jason. Boy, we got a show for you today. On the show, we're going to be talking about whether or not who's cognitive and who's not cognitive. We're going to talk about Budweiser and why they don't want to sell tutus anymore. They don't know if they want to sell tutus. We're going to talk about New York robot police. And then San Francisco had... Kirk was just telling me something about that. But anyway, robot police, New York. And then UFO testimony plus Caught in the Weber, which is going to be very sticky. But first... the Dominion suit versus Fox. Very interesting. How much did they settle for?
87 million. But
Yeah, that's what I read.
787?
I also heard it bumped up to over $1 billion overnight.
Yeah. Well, didn't they want 6 billion?
Dominion
just wanted $1 billion.
$1 billion. Like one.
Well, how much is Fox, how much is their net worth?
Not that.
Well, they're not going to get,
They've already fired some people. Don Bongino actually left today. He said it wasn't because he was fired or let go, but there was 3 others. I don't remember exactly who they were, but they were all said that they were leaving. But I think they're making it look like, so it's not Fox Network anymore. It's FAU Network, FAUX.
If they fired Mark Levin, I'm done. I know you, jury, might not know him. Do you, are you familiar with him? Yeah.
Mark Levin? No, I know. Yeah,
Levin,
you told me about him. Yeah, I've listened to him a few times. Yeah.
Mark Levin or Jesse Waters. I mean,
like
some of the stuff that they're putting out is absolutely fantastic. And all that this is showing is it's another way for election interference 1.5 years before the 2024 elections by transferring money to say that they didn't believe that the 2020 election was stolen. This is all a setup for 2024. That's what they're doing.
Well, because there's also another case after that, right? There's another...
Yeah, that's the Smartmatic lawsuit.
Right. And they're going for like $1 billion. So, Fox, I mean, are they going to settle that one too?
I don't think they have. What they did with this, it's going to make it hard for them not to have a choice.
Yeah. Well, because I heard that they settled... A, because they want to, but B, they don't want to bring up all their talent and stuff because they'd have to have Tucker Carlson would have to go up and Hannity would have to go up and suddenly these guys are now in court. That would be nuts.
And that's one thing the left hates about the settlement is that it prevents them from seeing all those people on stage, on the stand.
It's no Trump mugshot.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Even though he made that himself.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Fox is going to stick around. I mean, I don't think they're going to go under.
No.
So they're going to stick around.
Their net worth is about $16 billion.
$16 billion. Hey, come on. You lose $3 billion, what are you going to do? You know what I mean?
And you never know. Trump and Elon, this is just my conspiracy mind, might have helped pay off this settlement just to keep things moving.
No way.
Change of ownership?
That's no way.
They don't want it to go anywhere, I'm telling you.
Yeah, but there's no way Elon Musk is. Well, didn't you say Elon Musk was going to buy it last week?
It's my conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
That's because he was sitting with Rupert Murdoch at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, of course he's going to sit with. I mean, where?
When he was sitting with the Saudi royals, does that mean he's going to?
Hey, maybe there's another. Maybe it's this whole just like buying Twitter.
Well, because I heard that there's some Saudi royals that want to buy the Washington football team. Is that they're called now?
No, the Commanders.
No, I thought, but they're called like the Washington.
They were at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, the Washington football team.
And then they get rid of their owner.
Yeah, so the Saudis might buy an NFL team. Anyway, we're not caught in the web. We're just quiet.
Wait, if they did that though, would we not have like cheerleaders showing skin, like Muslims?
They don't care. They're making money, bro. They own like 3
bunch of
Premier
cheerleaders
Leagues.
and hijabs.
Yeah, they'll be wearing full body suits.
Well, they own like 3 Premier League teams in England. So,
are you talking about soccer?
Yes.
Gay.
Whatever. It's the beautiful game, bro. The beautiful game. It's the beautiful. Kirk makes fun of me all the time. But during the World Cup, I was like, dude, we got to watch the World Cup. He's like, why?
Right.
Why do you want to watch? Because I like soccer. All right. Do you guys watch baseball?
Do.
Boring.
Played it.
They have a
Boring.
clock now, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I heard that's actually pretty good.
It is.
It cuts the time down to like 2 hours.
Yep.
That's nice. I played baseball when I was a kid, but no matter what position I played, I always got hit in the head with the ball.
Oof.
Seriously. Second base, went down for a grounder, hit a rock right in my head.
I thought people were just throwing balls at you.
So, no, this ball was hit at me because I was playing the sport, and I was catcher, and so
You got the kneel?
and I squat. It's more of a squat, but so the batter hits the ball, and you're supposed to take off your mask so you can see where the ball's coming, or whatever. So I take off my mask, I look up, and the outfielder throws the ball, and I lose it in the sun. Like, I have no idea where this ball went. So I'm standing there, and I'm like, okay, and the ball came and hit me directly in the forehead, and bounced to the pitcher's mound. I had stitches in my head, and ever since then, I was like, I don't think baseball's for me. I can't take it. Too many small white balls coming at my face.
So you went to soccer.
So I went to soccer. Loved it.
Bigger
It's
white
the best thing
balls.
ever. Anyway, this is yeah. I baseball, but I'm going to go.
Having your girlfriend turn you gay.
So you don't like soccer at all?
No, I don't mind it
Okay.
for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, and I can see that. I can see if you don't know the nuances of it. The beautiful game.
All right, we're off track. Get back on.
What track? Yeah. No. So even if Fox has to pay these settlements off, I mean, they'll be fine. I mean, they're not going to go anywhere for the election.
No.
Which wasn't the point. What the lawsuit was about is to damage the credibility of Fox News to the point where if they report on anything damaging to the Democrats, it'll be seen as
they're
so-
just making them look weak already.
Exactly.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah, it does suck, and it's sad that Rupert Murdoch did this and allowed for the settlement to go through and not fight. But
You think he should have fought it?
I do.
Because if he would have fought it, then because I guess defamation is very difficult to prove,
It is,
especially like corporate.
yeah.
It's easier personal, or no? It's harder personal. It's easier personal. If you were like to defame me and I sued you,
Well, it matters whether or not the person being defamed is a public figure or not. If they're a private individual, then there's more protections than if they were a public individual. That's why you don't see Trump suing everyone who crosses him. That's why he wants to open up the libel laws to make it easier to do that. And that's why a lot of anti-Trump people don't want him to do that, because they know open up the libel laws, they'll probably get sued.
It's true.
so okay. So we don't know if it's harder than. I know it's very difficult though to get defamation, even corporate defamation.
And this thing, what Kirk was saying at the very beginning, is it opens up each one of their on-air talent to individual challenges of court because they're the ones who said it in text messages, like Tucker Carlson or whatever. So the news agency has one opinion, their newscasters have a different, and that opens them up for liable if they went through all of this, and that causes a whole other problem. He's actually protecting his people by doing this.
Right.
That's true. So Cornell has 4 standards that you must meet to prove what's called prima facie defamation.
Okay.
One is a false statement purporting to be a fact, publication or communication of that fact to a third person, fault amounting to at least negligence, and damages or some harm caused to the reputation of the person or entity who is the subject of the defamation. So I think the 4th standard was met because contracts were canceled. That's because of the Fox News defamation.
Right. Yeah.
So they lost money.
Right.
And what's the Smartmatic? What are they saying?
So Smartmatic was the voting system company that, what was her name? Sidney Powell.
Yeah.
Had said was owned by like 7 different foreign countries, Venezuela, Iran, and everything.
Fox News may have settled one lawsuit for over $700 million, but the news giant still faces another that could be even bigger. A $2.7 billion defamation suit was filed by Smartmatic, which, like its rival Dominion, produces voting machines. And like Dominion, the company is also suing Fox over false claims made on the network about machines changing votes to rig the 2020 election. Smartmatic says not only are the claims false, they're impossible because their machines were used in only one county in the U.S. To actually win, Smartmatic must prove that not only did the network and anchors named in the suit spread false information, but they did so knowingly and with malice.
So Smartmatic is claiming defamation.
Even though it is journalism and it shouldn't be something they should be going after anyway, and it doesn't matter. I mean, Smartmatic and Dominion were very intricately tied, almost to the point where they're the same company. And so this whole idea is just they're getting paid right now with these lawsuits to help in the 2024 steal, if that's what they're going after. As Hillary Clinton says that it will be Biden.
That's what Hillary Clinton said?
Yeah, just recently, just this week. Biden will win. It doesn't matter who the Republican nominee will be.
Was she wearing a hood? I imagine her wearing a hood saying that. Biden will win 20, and she raises her bony finger.
There's a weird like choral background.
Yeah. I imagine her doing that.
Some chants.
She's lit well from underneath, you know?
Is that possible?
But keeping with the Dominion stuff, I mean, that one got settled, but as we were talking earlier, that the True the Vote and the Koenig thing got dismissed today. So there's some court cases that are going through or being dismissed that are beneficial to the right side, and other ones are not.
And real quick, the True the Vote case is these two individuals, Catherine Engelbrecht and Greg Phillips, who have information detailing fraud and rigging of the 2020 election. Anyone who has seen 2000 Mules, Dinesh D'Souza uses that information as part of his research to create the film.
What, Greg, is geo-tracking?
So the idea is to collect the signals that are emitted from your phone. Your cell phone is delivering information to apps that are collecting that ping. So there are 4 key coordinates: the lat long, the elevation, and the time. And with that data, we can then build a pattern of life around you. So that phone's here right now. Well, where's it going to be at 5 o'clock? And where's it going to be tonight?
Well, here's my cell phone. My cell phone is off. Can I be geo-tracked even with the cell phone being off?
Possibly.
Depending on the apps
Depending
that are
on
on
the
phone.
apps, depending
That's
on
what marketing companies do all day, every day.
And so they were jailed for 4 days or so?
Yeah, 4 days, yeah.
For interfering with election machinations.
Yeah.
And so they were sued, and the case was dismissed.
Dismissed, yep. And Greg Phillips and Catherine, they set up the website called Open Ink. You can sign up for it. You can access everything that they have on all of the 2000 Mules stuff, on computers, Dominion, Smartmatic. I mean, absolutely everything having to do with the 2020 election steal. This website, you can sign up and you can go through all of it, but it's terabytes of stuff. And we're talking video images at Dropboxes. I mean, everything.
And there are some states that didn't have surveillance cameras at these Dropboxes, like Wisconsin. I think they were mandated to, but none of the ones in like Madison and Milwaukee had cameras on their Dropboxes.
Yep, they were like pointing in opposite directions or not functioning, or
incidentally the largest Democrat cities in that state.
All the key states: Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia.
So just to wind down this discussion, it wasn't about the defamation. They didn't care that Fox News was saying, because they've always been saying whatever about Fox News. Like we played last week, we have Ron Wyden talking about how Dominion had phony, fake voting machines, and that prior to the 2020 election, Miles O'Brien for PBS had reported that Georgia got rid of their Dominion voting systems because the voting machines were so corrupted.
Yep.
Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, it's funny to see like CNN and MSNBC and everyone like laughing at them, and it's like, all right, well, haven't you guys had your own little scrapes? Not as big as this, because this is huge. This is an exorbitant amount of money. But CNN their hands ain't clean, like they
definitely not.
No,
they settled with Nick Sandman.
Yeah, that's the MAGA hat kid, right?
Yep,
that they said they did that for like 3 days. They plastered that kid's face everywhere.
Yep.
Settled Nick Sandman, but also paid the guy at the Capitol, the January 6th riots, the guy who was, dang it, what was his name? He was a little, don't mean to be a little black guy. I remember his name.
I don't know.
Anyway, they paid him like $30,000 a day to be filming with his cell phone.
You're talking about John Sullivan.
That's right. Yeah, John Sullivan.
Yep.
They paid him to do it, so they had to pay Salmon for what he did, but they were paying provocateurs at January 6th.
Yeah, has MSNBC had any payoffs like that we know of?
Not that we know of. Not that I've heard.
So can you imagine, fellas? Now go with me here on this. Our show gets so big, right? People love us so much. that we have to pay off some people.
No.
What?
No.
What? It'll all go away, Weber.
No, it won't.
It will too if we just pay them off right now.
Hush money.
That's what I call it, hush money.
Allegedly.
So it's been discussed by some people, I think. I don't really know who, but I've heard the discussions. And the thought is to give our elected officials a cognitive test, right? So they get to a certain age, let's say, 75. They get to 75, and then every year, and maybe with some people every 6 months, give them that test. And then once they start failing those tests, you're out of there.
Yeah.
That would never pass.
That would disqualify like 80% of
right. Well, it would never. It's
officials. Yeah.
It's equivalent to any bill that says there's no inside trading. Like it's just not going to go anywhere, right?
Right.
But I have just been thinking that it would be very helpful. I believe personally in American politics if we could force our elected officials to take cognitive tests.
Yeah, you make your parents, when they get old enough to retake their driver's license, their keys get taken away. Why can't this be for running a country?
Right.
Or representing a state or
whatever.
Yeah. Whatever. Because Biden's, I know this was a couple weeks ago now, but Biden's trip to Ireland, boy, howdy. Did he I would say he set the world on fire with it, but then he licked it out. You know what I mean?
What a great guy.
Let's lick the world. Which, by the way, means like let's go punch him in the nose. I think either that or lick them. He either means to punch them or lick them.
He beat up everybody because he was like, "I'm going to take Trump out to the back of the barn and beat him up."
They asked me would I like to debate this gentleman. I said no. I said we're in high school. I take you behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
I think he's trying to tie into his like down home roots that he's never had.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like
the boxer he never.
Yeah, he's the guy from Scranton, Pennsylvania. You know, to take you behind the woodshed. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. He's not going to whatever.
He was known as the senator from MBNA because he was so corrupt and took so much of those credit card company donations.
Big time. He was Mr. Credit Card in Delaware, they called him, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Credit Card. But, okay, my point is now he is not Mr. Credit Card anymore. He's obviously slipping. But then we got, and I love this, the senator from California, Dianne Feinstein. So, and I'm going to say the backstory here and tell me if I've got anything wrong, okay? So Clarence Thomas has been discovered as having what could be deemed as inappropriate transactions with a billionaire best friend, to where trips and boat rides and all these different gifts given to him. But then also they found out that this billionaire best friend owns Clarence Thomas's mom's house. So she's like she's there for free, right? Okay. That being said, there should be an investigation. We should look into it, right? So the Senate Judiciary Committee has to start looking into this. I'd say we're getting down to the truth of it. Well, Dianne Feinstein, how old is she? She's like 114. How old is she?
Roughly.
I mean, I'm not being dramatic here either. Am I?
I think she just turned 114.
She's like 89, 90?
94.
She's 94.
Something like that. She's in her 90s, I believe.
So she hasn't even been in D.C. She's been in California this whole time.
No, she was in D.C.
So she's in D.C. She's just not going to the Capitol.
No, she was. Just last year, she was kind of recused from the House, I think, or the Senate last year or the year before.
But she's not going now. And so there's a big push because the Democrats want to nail Clarence Thomas, but they can't because in order to get a subpoena power, they have to have, is it half of the, they have to have half the votes, or?
They have to have the majority, but it doesn't even seem to matter. Clarence Thomas put out a statement after this whole situation. He had actually asked, and there's documents of him asking about the relationship he had with this billionaire and how other Supreme Court justices in the past and present at that time also had certain friends, and doing what he was doing, he had already gotten approval from the courts and other people to do this, and it's not what the Democrats are making it out to be.
Sure,
they really want to get Clarence Thomas out of there because it's known in the world that Clarence Thomas and Joe Biden had a huge problem when he was being
just a little bit
when he was being nominated or whatever the word is,
going through the confirmation
of being a Supreme Court justice, and those two I mean, you want to talk about racism from Joe Biden? It was intense.
When it came time for him to publicly respond to the allegations, Thomas turned the tables on his interrogators and, for all intents and purposes, ended the debate.
This is a circus. It's a national disgrace. It is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks who in any way deign to think for themselves. And it is a message that unless you kowtow to an old order, you will be lynched, destroyed, caricatured by a committee of the U.S. Senate rather than hung from a tree.
Why did you use that language? I mean, why a high-tech lynching?
If somebody just wantonly tries to destroy you, if somebody comes in and just drags you out of your house and beats the hell out of you, what is it?
What do you want people to think about those allegations? What is it important?
I really, at this point, I think most well-meaning people understand it for what it was. It was a weapon to destroy me. Clear and simple.
And what does Joe Biden do? He apologizes to the person that was falsely accusing Clarence Thomas of raping her or harassing her or whatever, Anita Hill.
Well, that being said, what's interesting is the Democrats can't actually do anything because this Dianne Feinstein, who's 117 years old, they can't get her there. She's not like mentally there. Like, so, but they don't want to go out on a limb and say, yeah, we should have her retire. No one wants to say that. So they're stuck between their social justice and their
reality,
wanting to get it done. And so like they don't like it's just very interesting to see because they went to the Republicans. The Republicans are like, oh, you guys figure this out,
right? So the Democrats wanted to replace her with another senator, and the Republicans said, no, thank you.
No, you have to make her retire. Yeah, it's just so. But if they had a cognitive test, that would be an easy out for them.
Yeah. And it goes down the same line as John Fetterman. His recent speech this week.
That was horrible.
His recent speech this week.
Awkward.
It is. That's
so awkward, dude.
That's unfortunate.
I actually feel bad for him.
Yeah. No, me too. You shouldn't do that to someone.
Yeah.
And you could see him struggling. Like it's not. That's his first time in the Senate, right? That's his first hearing.
Yeah, since being back from his mental depression breakdown, whatever, for 60 days, 90 days it was, and that's a whole thing all in its own. I mean,
well, anytime you affect the brain like that, you could change as a person. Like you go through enormous changes. So like he God only knows what he's going through.
Right.
And he's now doing a senatorial hearing in Washington D.C. And it was just. And anybody who's behind it, I personally think his wife and stuff, like you got to be like, dude, you can't do this. Like,
his wife is crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah, left him as soon as he went into the hospital. She fled to Canada with his daughter.
I'm not on vacation.
See, that's a competency test, though. But the only thing, okay, so the other one, though, this is the other one we're talking about, is the Mitch McConnell. So, true, something was broken on his body.
True.
True, possibly multiple places. Shoulder and leg, or shoulder, hip, or...
Well, my understanding was his shoulder, and he was concussed because he fell so hard.
So he got concussed.
And it was a bad concussion to the point where he was in the hospital for a while, and they didn't even think he was going to come back.
Good God.
At all.
So he could be in the same position as Fetterman.
Well, and he did make a speech on the floor 4 or 5 days ago, and you can... It sounds like Mitch, but it's a little slower. You can definitely tell he's struggling to complete the phrases or sentences. It's not... I mean, we don't want, as a Republican, we don't want him anyway. He's basically a Democrat.
How old is he?
He's in his 80s.
He's in his 80s. And he just had a concussion in his 80s.
And this is the second fall he's had in like 3 years, 2 years. He also fell and supposedly broke his ankle. And you can go down the conspiracy theories with the idea of the boot on the foot, but. Again, this whole fall, this supposed fall that he just recently had, this is also one of those ideas. Maybe he didn't fall. Maybe this is he's being caught up in some stuff, and that was their out.
Getting caught up in what stuff would he be getting caught up in?
Well, this is when he started getting into QAnon. And this is the idea of the people being taken out or questioned or deposed or going through court hearing. Who knows? And it's a way to backplay it.
See, I don't know about that. I think he might just be an old guy who fell down.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, because he's 89. You know what I mean? Like, because if you fall at that age too, like you could tear yourself up.
Yeah.
Tear yourself up.
Just so we don't get sued for defamation, he's only 81.
81. Sorry, Mitch.
But also, coincidentally, all this stuff with China lately, and the big problems with the Chinese police stations and China getting ready to attack Taiwan, all this different stuff. His wife and him are deeply tied with China. She owns all of the shipping companies.
Elaine Chao.
So do you think? Are you talking about like Chinese musclemen showed up and like,
this
hey,
is
Mitch?
No. This is where we go to the white hats idea, and they are starting to lay down the law.
You've heard the name Cocaine Mitch?
Cocaine. Something about containers on a ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, his family or his wife's family owns shipping tankers.
80% of them.
And one of them were, this was like 8 years ago or so, was essentially boarded and raided, and there was cocaine found on it. And so since then, he's always been called Cocaine Mitch. And there's all these hilarious memes about him, being some drug kingpin or whatever. And he was cleared, of course, because why would he ever be held to account? But that's where that meme came from.
So let's take it a step further. 2 years ago, you guys remember the shipping containers that got held up in the Suez Canal, the Evergiven or Evergreen?
The Evergreen, yep.
Yep. Chow owned that company.
The cognitive test would not necessarily work on Mitch because he could probably still do pretty well, even though he's but with a concussion though.
I don't know. He's from Kentucky. I don't know if he'll pass anyway.
Oh, jeez. What Kentucky do to you?
Nothing. Never been there.
Right then, never been there. I'm just making assumptions. Better than West Virginia.
True. Never been there either.
I knew you hadn't been there before.
Been to Virginia, not West Virginia.
West Virginia. I've been there. I was driving through it, and I was just like, "Dear West Virginia, clean up your roads. P.S. These aren't mountains, because like it's like foothills, but whatever. They call them mountains." No, I just think the cognitive test would be good for both sides. I think it would be good for the government.
It'd be good
theoretically, yeah, because this is not good. And with Biden running again in 2024, I mean, like, good God, man, how old is he going to be when the whole thing's over?
So if
he wins, yeah, if he wins this next term, he'll be in 92 or something.
I don't know. I do know that they just announced he's going to be making his statement on running next week on video, on a video call.
On a video call.
That's what they said.
That's weird.
Well, not when you campaign from your basement. That kind of is par for the course.
If I'm reading this right, he'll be 86.
86
when he leaves.
Okay.
You really need to 86 him.
Hey, we're in the weeds. 86 him. 86 him. Why would they do a video call? That's interesting. So they easier to control it.
Of course, deep fake.
You know the fake Oval Office they have set up for him
that they've now admitted to. So there's more room in this building across the street than there is in the White House.
So, I guess from what I've heard, is Bud Light actually like pulling back from Dylan Mulvaney, or are they just standing strong with Dylan?
No, they're just using patriotism to.
Wow, that commercial,
gross patriotism.
Dude, that commercial is the best, bro. What are you talking about? They didn't even talk about beer. They just show a horse running in front of on a beach and the great, in the fields of barley, and then they have him in front of the Statue of Liberty, and then he's getting a slice of pizza in Manhattan. It's great.
It looks like Chat GPT.
He's surfing in Miami. He goes snowshoeing up in Minnesota. It's awesome.
Boo.
Boo.
You're a bad brand and you should feel bad.
So I don't think Bud Light is back on them, right? I mean, are they still holding?
They're not backing off anything. Why are they?
No. They're not going to back off anything.
They haven't fired him or disposed of him as a spokesperson.
Well, even the CEO, I forget her name.
No, she's not the CEO. She's just the PR marketer.
She's the PR marketer.
Right. Heinerschneid.
Is it really her name?
Alyssa Heinerschneid. Yep.
Wow.
Well, I'm Alyssa Heinerscheid. I'm Alyssa Heinerscheid. I'm Alyssa Heinerscheid. I'm Alyssa Heinerscheid. I'm a first year, just finished up my first year at Wharton Business School, and I'm a marketing intern. I'm working on Yellow Box Cheerios this summer.
That's a great name.
Harvard graduate.
Yeah, sure. So they're not going to fire her. They're not going to get rid of her.
First female to run the biggest beer company in the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
What an accomplishment.
First female to ruin the biggest beer company in the world.
Congratulations.
That's so wow. So, but they can't do anything to her, because if they did try to fire her or anything, she could sue the dickens out of
Perfect grift.
Yeah, she could sue the dickens out of Bud Light.
Epstein didn't kill himself, but Budweiser did.
So that's crazy. So they're just gonna keep riding, for lack of a better term, this horse.
Oof.
And until the whole thing just falls apart. I don't get it.
Nobody gets it.
It's like it's the weirdest. Why would you do that? Like, why would you? Like, they want to get away from the frat boy thing. Like, no, stick with the frat boy thing.
Yeah, that's what I find interesting is that Heinerschneid wants to get away from the crude humor she says in that one podcast, and get us like a pony boy little. I was going to say something really bad, and they want to say it, effeminate male, and that's going to like get them to have more.
Well, this is the same crowd that liked the ooh de lolly. What was the dilly dilly? This is the same. I don't think, because dilly dilly, you would go to parties and you would hear dilly dilly, like,
and
people thought it was hilarious,
right? And in the 2000s, the girls would dress like the Budweiser girls at Halloween. Like now, it's dudes dressing like Budweiser.
Dude dressing like Budweiser girls. Yeah.
And what I find interesting is the conservatives that are attacking Bud Light for this, at the same time also kind of attack the Bud Light beer drinkers that they're not necessarily trying to defend, but they're asking why the change, like Matt Walsh or what have you, will say it tastes like piss water or whatever. Like, I'm not disagreeing with that, but it's just weird that they're both sides are kind of criticizing.
Well, because it's
drinkers.
Because like, let's face it. I mean, Bud Light, for the majority of it, is poor white people. So like,
dude, when I was a drinker, that's what I drank, buddy.
Yeah. And did you have money?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because
I could just drink more of it.
Right. Drink more.
Yep.
That's all right.
That's just being smart.
Right. That's just being. That's using your head. No, but that's why is the demographic for Bud Light. It's not a favorable demographic,
But for business, it is. Because
sure.
This is
because poor white people are college kids, and like there's tons of people who drink Bud Light that it's not just rural.
Well, you go to I would say a soccer game, but you guys drink Cosmos. You go fishing, or you go to a baseball game, or you're watching NASCAR, whatever it may be. Pastimes, Bud Light, Coors Light, Bud, Coors, whatever, right. Yingling, PBR, but you're attacking the majority of your drinkers.
It's just so weird. It's just a weird thing. You have to like this. You have to like this. You have to like this. Like, no, I don't have to like this. I don't, And that's what's happening is people are like, no, I don't have to like this.
I have other choices.
Yeah. It's crazy that you would do that.
There's a country music star who actually changed the line in his song that used to be Bud Light to Coors Light or Coors in this huge arena show last week, and it destroyed the Democrats. All the liberals are freaking out that he would do that, even though the country music people are like the people who drink Bud Light. Now he's top of the charts.
Brantley Gilbert.
Yep.
I don't. He sounds like he's country. If you have three names, come on.
Brantley, not Brantley.
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 Oh, I said Brant Lee. No.
Let's not do that IQ test.
Yeah.
Told you. Didn't I tell you to do that? I didn't want to do it. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens with them. And that's like them. What I heard about, was it Frozen 3? They might make the lead character gay. And it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, just leave it alone.
It's their not so secret gay agenda.
I worked at small studios most of my career, and I'd heard, you hear whispers. Like, I'd heard things like, oh, they won't let you show this at a Disney show. And I'm like, okay. So I was a little, sus when I started. But then my experience was bafflingly the opposite of what I had heard. On my little pocket of, Proud Family Disney TVA, the showrunners were super welcoming. Meredith Roberts and, our leadership over there has been so welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. And so I feel like I felt like it was, maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess something must have happened in the last they are turning it around, they're going hard. And then all that momentum that I felt, that sense of, I don't have to be afraid to like, let's have these two characters kiss. Let's in the background, like I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness to like if you see anything queer in the show. But like, I just was like, no one would stop me and no one was trying to stop me.
Yeah, well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, why just leave it alone? Like, why just?
So I think we hit on this because we've transferred just a little bit.
Yeah.
The whole idea of this whole transition, transgender, all this other stuff. I have nothing against any single human being.
Yeah, me either.
What they want to do,
Me either.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you do you. I don't care.
You're over 18, you want to chop off your genitals,
You
whatever.
do it. Congratulations.
You go after kids, we have a problem.
Yeah.
Why the kids?
Yeah,
that's what I don't understand. Why the kids?
Well, because they're pumping up the next generation. I mean, you know.
I like how the trans movement is using the same logic as the tobacco companies. Get them while they're young.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I didn't even think of that.
That's because that's the only explanation.
Well, and no, the other explanation, and you can go down the conspiracy idea, is they're literally creating a situation for depopulation of our own accord because they are puberty blockers and genital mutilation and all that kind of stuff. You're ruining children, so they do become of age and they go through puberty. If they would have gone through,
a drone.
Yeah, they can have kids. They can procreate. Then our civilization moves on. Doing this to all these children, they can't have children. They're sterilizing all of them, and now we have no civilization, no population growing. We're diminishing just this fact. Let alone the craziness.
And so, if you're trying to exterminate a population, one of the best ways to do it is to introduce confusion among the sexes. And so there's less breeding, the birth rates drop below the replacement level. You introduce mass immigration, destroy the nation.
And just like in the movie Idiocracy, the smarter folks, I'm just saying it this way, are not having children because they don't want to bring them into this world. My wife and I haven't had children because we're scared to death of what we have to deal with or put the child through because of schooling or indoctrination or transgender or whatever they're teaching these poor kids, and having to be more of a helicopter parent than you actually need or want to be. And that's scary. So then you don't have children. So those go away. Then the people who are getting transferred or transitioning, they can't have kids, so that's not even an option. And
Excuse me, sir. Men can get pregnant. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
So crazy.
And then the chemicals in the water, like Alex Jones says, the frog. There's different things.
Gay.
But there's the phthalates. That's the microplastics that are leaching into our
PBAs.
food. They're creating a situation where the scientists say that it's making it so that our men's sperm count is like 70% less than it used to be just 40 years ago. And that's not by choice, because you're drinking water or you're drinking your favorite drink or your soda or whatever it may be. And that's the problem. It's a multifaceted attack on us.
On civilization.
On humans. Then rings in AI. What about Elon Musk?
What about Elon? This actually might be a good segue, because he had a really interesting interview with Tucker Carlson, and he was just saying, like, we need to take a break because we can't control this thing. It's getting too much. And from what I've heard is AI only learns from what it's being fed.
Of course.
Right.
Absolutely. So it's being fed all this negative, gross stuff, and so now it's coming back negative and gross, and everyone's like, whoa, this is weird.
What we talked about last week, garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
So if the AI is only being fed the worst, they'll only put out the worst.
But can you be more precise about what's potentially dangerous and scary? Like, what could it do? What specifically are you worried about?
Okay, going with old sayings, the pen is mightier than the sword. If you have a super intelligent AI that is capable of writing incredibly well and in a way that is very influential, convincing, and is constantly figuring out what is more convincing to people over time, and then enters social media, for example, Twitter, but also Facebook and others, and potentially manipulates public opinion in a way that is very bad. How would we even know?
And Elon said on Tucker that it's and on Twitter, as a matter of fact, as well, that the left is inputting false information, false history, false facts into the AI, which is another problem because it's changing our history. It's like the Egyptians, when another pharaoh came in, they cleaned the face off of the rocks of that one, you know? So it's the same thing.
When the Bolsheviks took over Russia, they tore down the old statues and old posters of the czars and created their own new history.
I heard, I think Elon Musk talked about like maybe doing an AI that just does truth.
Good luck with that.
No,
Yeah.
he did.
He said that.
Created,
Yeah.
well, and he created a company. I think it's called AIX or X.
No, AI is Truth. I think it was like Truth AI, something like that.
That's his other company. He just filed the FEC for.
Because he wants to make an AI that actually speaks the truth and either both sides.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
I guess this AI leans pretty far left.
Very.
Absolutely.
Because you can only ask it certain questions and it'll only answer certain things, and then it might ask you out on a date.
Right. Well, and on that interview with Tucker Carlson, he actually said what really got him wanting to do this pause is the CEO of Google said he's trying to create a digital god.
Oh my goodness!
His goal is to create a digital god.
Why would you say that out loud?
Exactly.
The reason OpenAI exists at all is that Larry Page and I used to be close friends, and I would stay at his house in Palo Alto, and I would talk to him late into the night about AI safety. And at least my perception was that Larry was not taking AI safety seriously enough.
What did he say about it?
He really seemed to be want sort of a digital superintelligence, basically digital God, if you will, as soon as possible.
He wanted that?
Yes. He's made many public statements over the years that the whole goal of Google is what's called AGI, artificial general intelligence or artificial superintelligence. You know, and I agree with him that there's great potential for good, but there's also potential for bad.
That's when Elon said enough is enough, and that's why he's now making.
It's like him and is it Davos?
Davos is the group.
No, the
Switzerland.
No, yeah. Who's the
Klaus Schwab?
Klaus Schwab. Him and Klaus Schwab can hang out and compare tunics.
Well, I think they do.
That's nuts. Why would you want to make a god? What's the oh my goodness. How is this like? I don't see. Sometimes I don't understand. Like, why can't you look at someone like that's a really bad idea? Like, don't do that.
Terrible idea.
Why would you do that?
And guess what? He thinks he's God because he's going to be in control of the digital God. That's what that's these people are Satanists. These people are egotistical and they're crazy. But they're the ones who control it because they developed it. So now they think they're God by proxy.
God by proxy. That was my band's name in high school.
How they do?
Well, we was on a highway to hell. No, I don't know. That's horrible. We weren't, demigods. That's nuts. I just don't understand why. Yeah, but talking to you, listening to the news, there are things where I'll just look at it and I just don't get it. Like, why are you doing this? Like, why? What? Right. What is the point?
It's control. It's all control. Elon Musk said on this Tucker Carlson thing and what he did is he says that there needs to be protections in place for humanity before we progress with AI so that it can limit the wild westness of it, the idea that it gets out of hand. Because just like human cloning, that when we banned human cloning because we found out we could do it, a lot of countries, and there was a lot of laws and things that made it, countries are still going to do it, as did China. And they clone those girls. That's probably still going on in China because now they know they've done it. And there's probably other countries that are doing it and creating a different race. Think if Hitler had this kind of technology. I mean, it can be detrimental or it can be massively beneficial, but there needs to be protections in place first.
Who would enforce those protections?
That's the problem is we don't have anybody.
Because that's like, yes, communism and socialism is great. Yeah, that's great. But who's handing out the checks?
He watches the watchers.
Yeah.
Right. Because people would say, oh, the UN could do it or...
No.
Right. And the reason why he probably says that is because just this week, the UN has said that they've legalized children consenting to sex with adults.
Love is love.
The UN just did?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So you don't have... The watchers need to be watched, but they're just... We're not... And we're falling behind in the idea of governing ourselves, but we also cannot be governed by the government because they're worse. It's a problem. There's no morals. There's no morals or values being taught anymore, and so we can barely even govern ourselves.
So you're saying no to AI?
I'm not saying no, because it can be massively beneficial.
You know, dude, if I had AI when I was in high school, do you know how awesome that would have been? Just gotta slip in a couple jokes here and there. It'd be great. I could cognitive test, no problem. Bring in cognitive test if I can have AI. How about that?
Right.
That'd be awesome.
When we were in high school, you're not going to have a calculator every time you're around.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, now I have one in my pocket.
Now the teachers are like, well, now you can't have a AI around you every time you need to talk to another human.
Liar.
So 20 years from now, it's like, no, put away your robot. He has to go stand in the hallway with all the other robots.
Turn it off.
Turn it off. And now it's time for Caught in the Web.
All right, so let's get into some stuff here. All right, so we'll start with something that Jason had mentioned first thing. There are a lot of new investigations. There are 650 open investigations into UFOs.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And they just had a hearing this week, right?
Yeah, the second Pentagon hearing, I think it was this week or it's scheduled for this coming week, for going over the idea of UFOs again, like they did a couple of months ago. So they're getting deep into this UFO stuff. There was a pilot that just caught. You've probably been seeing it going around social media, Instagram, Facebook, all over. This pilot out of the cockpit catching this UFO that is eerily similar to the David Fravor kind of Tic Tac looking situation that they have that they released on Fox. But it's daytime and it's metallic and it has the same shape and it moves fast. And
they don't call it UFOs though anymore, right?
UAPs. Yep. UAPs.
It's not as catchy.
I kind of like UAPs.
It's kind of like WAP.
Wow. Jeez. God. We're beeping that one. You landed hard too. You stuck that.
All right, some more stuff that's come out. Ex-CIA director reveals that Blinken and Biden campaign prompted the former spies to falsely claim material for the Hunter Biden laptop was disinformation. So they are now being subpoenaed. They're trying to get subpoenas for every one of the spies that had signed off on the Russian disinformation on that Hunter's laptop.
So we were talking a little bit about this before the show. I told you I don't think anything's going to happen to Hunter Biden, and you said to me, with your eyes ablaze, you said, "Oh no, he's gonna be the first perp."
Yeah, and it's a toss up between him and Fauci.
That's what you.
Yeah, because the second part of the Caught in the Webber is the Fauci files dropped this morning that Elon has been promising. He dropped Li Fang dropped it on Twitter. He had perjured himself because he had told Rand Paul that he did not have a Twitter account, and it has now come out that he actually took over and was in full control of I think it was the White House COVID Twitter account, and saying things on there that completely contradict everything he said in Congress.
Fauci ran the White House COVID tweet or Twitter account.
Yes. And it all came out in his deposition, and it was
he
all
had
tracked.
denied having a Twitter account.
Said Rand Paul that he'd never had one, never used one, didn't want one, didn't know, all that stuff. And again, perjured himself.
So, but my only thought to this is being guilty and getting arrested or facing any consequences. Two different things.
Well, especially in the two-tier justice system we have right now.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just telling you with the Hunter Biden thing, nothing's going to happen. He's not going to go anywhere. Not saying, just saying. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
And that's all public. That his 4473 and the stuff about him acquiring that gun is all public record. That's not part of the laptop theory. That's something that was going on even before the laptop. That was in 2018 or 17, right. I believe. So,
well, he's been under investigation for half a decade now, right? Or more than half a decade.
Well, yeah. I mean,
and we know that the Treasury Department has put out certain hundreds of red alerts on transactions between him and foreign sources.
Yeah. which brings to the next part is there are now 6 more Biden family members that are now being named within the money that's coming from Ukraine and China and having business dealings and basically defrauding the U.S. government.
My God.
Yeah. So that's going to get messy, and I think the idea of the spy stuff, I think they're building this case because John Durham is still actively in his case and getting ready to put his final review that Merrick Garland says he will not stop.
Durham, the same guy that couldn't get that conviction of Sussman.
Right. But what they're saying is that the 2 cases he did get, he laid out the perfect pathway to get the RICO case even against Hillary.
Hillary's going down.
Hillary's not going down. No one's going down. I don't think any Biden's going down.
I think all the Bidens are going down.
No, they're not all going down, bro.
James Biden, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Jill Biden, Ashley Biden, they're all going down.
Who's Ashley Biden? Is Ashley Biden the one that had
That's the daughter he groped in the shower? According to her diary.
Well, and Hunter Biden, he also married his brother's widow.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So weird. He didn't marry her. He just hooked up with her.
I think he did marry her.
Did marry her.
Yeah.
Is he married to her now?
No.
Oh, it didn't work out? That's weird. Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
Who knew? Who saw that one?
So the other things, Conor Weber here. Yeah. So the DOJ did announce arrest of 2 Americans and up to, I believe it was 34 Chinese nationals for having illegal Chinese police stations in America. In Chinatown.
What?
Oddly, the same place that Joe Biden's documents that were are in the exact same locations.
Okay, okay, in Chinatown, in what, like Boston?
This is New York.
New York.
Manhattan.
So he had offices in Boston too, though, right?
No, boxes. So you're mixing those. So there's 6 recognized Chinese.
Right. No, but where did Biden? Because Biden had an office in Boston. Didn't they find papers in Boston, or that was Pennsylvania?
It's UPenn Center.
UPenn Center.
UPenn Center.
Yeah. So also in Boston.
Also in Boston. So they did find something in Boston. Okay.
1,850 some odd documents in Chinatown.
That's great. Really? 1,800 in Chinatown? In New York?
In New York.
Stop it.
Yeah.
They found it in Chinatown?
This is the same Chinatown.
Why is no one talking? I haven't heard about that. That's crazy.
No, and this is the same Chinatown that the U.S. government just arrested spies for China in that same location. So, what is the odds or the fact that secret documents from the government that Biden was not supposed to have because he was a VP is in a place where the Chinese CCP is working and having spies, and all of them are in the same locations?
And you're verifying this, right, Kirk?
So I'm not joking. I'm using Google, so kill me, but I'm looking up Chinatown corruption.
Yeah.
Every other news story in the world involving Chinatown, except for this one. And the only site that is actually talking about it is India Today.
India Today.
Yeah. Not the New York Times, not the Washington Post, USA Today. No, India Today.
Okay, so look up, what you can look up is the DOJ arrests nationals for police station, I think it was.
So a police station? So like an
actual
they're operating police
stations. So they're monitoring their people in our country. Okay? Now, this goes into California as well. Pelosi, if you remember, there was a big thing about her, and her driver was a Chinese person, and she was constantly going to Chinatown during the COVID stuff. Guess where one of the police stations was at? Where she was going. Guess who her driver was part of? The spies.
So I know that someone we were speaking about earlier, Feinstein, had the Chinese
Yes, that's
spy.
it. It's China, not Feinstein, not Pelosi.
Okay, yeah, so it was Feinstein that had the Chinese driver. Also in California, we have Eric Swalwell, who, when he's not farting on air, is banging Chinese spies.
Bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
Well, I heard, what's her face?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Lit him up.
She dragged him across the coals. It's such an awkward, like, legal way of, like, going, hey, to somebody.
And what did Biden do upon entering the White House? He killed a DOJ investigation or a program to counter Chinese espionage.
Welcome the balloons.
Welcome the balloon.
That's the second part of this is the Pentagon announced that there were 4 more balloons that were not discussed and knew about during this whole balloon situation that were going over America.
Wow.
All collecting data.
And we know that when the initial fervor started over this balloon thing, there was an accusation that, Trump allowed 2 balloons to cross and didn't shoot them down. Well, it turns out the person that was spreading that admitted to lying.
Right.
Good God.
But Biden did let upwards of 6 balloons over the course of
It's fine, they're balloons. It's okay. It's fine.
It's so weird. It's such a weird way to spy, too.
Well, it's actually kind of perfect.
It's really,
Yeah.
the perfect spying operation.
Yeah.
Because then we say, it's just a balloon. What's wrong with it?
So yeah, the Chinese are infiltrating. You can kind of go into the idea that so many Chinese nationals, only of men of fighting age, are crossing the border, not women and children in China. So it's almost like an infiltration that's being allowed to happen at our border.
Never.
Right.
The border's secure, sir. Mayorkas told me.
Well, that's not even talking about fentanyl.
Nope.
Fentanyl. Fentanyl's like cell phones. It's only made in China.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nuts. At least the building blocks are made in China.
Yeah, and then it gets shipped
And then
to the
it's shipped to
cartels.
Mexico,
The cartels make it.
The building blocks are made in China.
Right.
That's crazy.
So on a lighter note, Alec Baldwin got his charges dropped
That's a
today.
lighter note. Well, but Alec, come on, give him a break. He how was he supposed to know?
What a news cycle we are living under, where
So
Alec
weird.
Baldwin having his charges dropped for the potential homicide of a
cinematographer.
Yeah, is the lighter news.
Yeah. So Alec Baldwin can shoot somebody with a gun and kill a person and get charges dropped. Donald Trump can write a number in the wrong ledger column and get 37 felonies.
Okay. I don't. Well, I don't. That whole him shooting the thing is just crazy. It's nuts.
Well, what the DA did was they overcharged him, and they didn't charge him under the appropriate statute, which would have ensured his conviction. And so, and you'll see this with like Casey Anthony years ago, or George Zimmerman. The state will overcharge, and then
That way they can't win. Right.
Yeah, either lose the case in court or just drop the charges.
Yep. So keep on the court charges. So the IRS, there's a whistleblower who has come forward, and his lawyer has actually come forward, and actually the CBS broke this news, and CBS and Fox, but the lawyer came on CBS to say that he has a whistleblower who is a IRS special agent that knows and has information showing everything that's going on with Hunter and how he has preferential treatment and how the Biden administration is protecting him from being indicted or being prosecuted for his tax crimes and the gun crime and all that kind of stuff. And he's ready to come forward and speak, but they're trying to work out the deals under the whistleblower laws.
Because I heard that they're hamstringing the IRS on the investigation on all the money and all that kind of stuff.
They're not hamstringing the IRS. The Biden administration is not allowing the DOJ to proceed with certain investigations, certain indictments, and it's used. And I think my idea here is that, and tell me if I'm wrong, that the funds, because IRS, the funds are showing where money is being used to make things happen.
Yeah, I can't disagree.
Yeah. Let's see here. Donald Trump's book comes out next week. Letters to Trump.
Letters to Trump.
Letters to Trump.
So he's publishing letters that people wrote him, or is this letters that he wrote to himself?
People, including Alec Baldwin,
wrote to Trump.
Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
Richard Nixon.
Is this while he was president?
No.
This is
Just
over
in
his
general.
whole life.
People who are, and this, I think it's brilliant because it's people who are damning him now or calling him this or calling him that. And these letters show that they were massive fans of his, wanted to be on his side, told him to run for president, things of that nature. And so I think it's just it's a brilliant move to show the hypocrisy of what is going on.
I just like the idea of him publishing letters that he wrote to himself. I like that idea. You're the best. I've never seen anyone write letters like this before. People say, this is the best letter. These are the people.
I hope he would, just so people get mad at that.
Yeah, well, anything he does, they're going to be mad at. Yeah.
Right.
The CFO of the Clinton campaign testified in Congress. I believe it was a CFO.
Yep.
And He was asked outright about the funding from Hillary to paying for the Steele dossier.
Oh, that's fun.
He couldn't recollect the payment. He wasn't quite sure if he remembered if they did make the very large dollar amount payment to create the Steele.
So he didn't say no.
Oh, he definitely didn't say no.
And he didn't say yes.
And he got very fidgety and weird.
I don't recall.
Kirk, I think I sent you that clip. And he almost looks like a vampire. He's a weird looking white dude. Oh, Smithers.
Yeah,
or Burns from The Simpsons. He looks exactly like that.
Gary Gensler.
Hey, real quick, last question. I think it might have came up. You were Hillary Clinton's CFO in the campaign, right?
It's part of my history.
Were you? Yes or no?
In 2016.
Did you facilitate the payment for the Steele dossier since you were CFO of the Hillary Clinton campaign?
Sir.
Yes or no?
Sir.
Yes or no?
That was not.
You're under oath, Chairman Gensler. Yes or no?
I know. I was not something I was aware of.
I yield back the rest of my time. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, so
he looks exactly like.
Wow, he does. That's crazy. He does.
Very crazy. Very crazy.
And he didn't recall. There's no way that guy doesn't recall anything. Like, you know what I mean? He remembers everything that's happened in his life. Everything.
Yeah, the question was, did you facilitate payment for the Steele dossier? Gessler stumbles and eventually says, it was not something I was aware of. And then, but the way he was very he was not confident in his answers.
Hedging his bets a little bit.
Hedging his bets. We'll finish this one with BuzzFeed just decided to call it quits because
they're packing it up.
They're done.
BuzzFeed's gone.
They're gone. The CEO says that because the Russian disinformation, I believe, or they reported on it first. Now they're afraid of what's going on with Fox and with CNN. They're just. I think that's what's going on, but they're calling it quits.
Huh, they're just packing it up.
So BuzzFeed was the first one to report on the Steele dossier.
Yes, right.
So that's a natural segue. BuzzFeed's going the way of Gawker. When Hulk Hogan sued the shit out of Gawker for posting the sex tape, Gawker went out of business, and I think they're back now in some limited form. So BuzzFeed's packing up shop and leaving.
But they have the support of the infrastructure, though, right? I mean, because they were the ones to break the news, and this happened. Who's going to go after them?
Well, I think they're scared. I can't see any other reason why they would just announce today that they're done closing shop. It's no longer.
Could they be being bought out? That way they can't. No. They're
just done.
Closing up shop.
Yep, they're done.
Gone fishing. Wow.
Not much speculation from what I can see as to why. So I guess anything is pretty valid.
Yeah, it's possible.
Well, that's too bad. I never really read BuzzFeed.
It was worthless.
It was. So maybe that's why they're just not making any money.
It's for the best.
Yeah, it's for the best. So that was a good caught in the Weber, though. Yeah, that was a good one. That was interesting. Do you want to talk about your pyramid thing? We were talking about this last week. We never got to it. How the pyramid are.
Oh, I just said it. Wouldn't it be crazy if the top of the pyramids are just the top of an obelisk that goes to the center of the earth?
That would be crazy. So, Musk had a rocket blow up on him.
Oh,
did you see that?
I did see that.
And everyone's like, "Ooh, he had a rocket blown up on him. SpaceX stinks. It's going under." Like, no, they designed this thing to blow up. Yep. They just wanted it to do a specific thing because they're just trying to remake rockets, right? I mean, they want to make it to where it's like you could do like a round trip. You don't have to keep making.
Well, this is the one that would take us, or this is more the idea that would go to Mars because it's the biggest rocket ever made. So it's got the fuel capacity, the all in general,
large payload.
Yeah.
So do you think we could go to Mars? Do you think human beings will ever go to Mars?
No.
Never? Oh, that's right. You don't think we're ever going to leave Earth?
No.
That's right.
I can show you pictures of what they say the Mars looks like in the rover, and it completely overlays and looks perfect in Greenland.
Stop it.
I can show you.
Con the Weber was last.
Stop it. No, that's a good one, though. Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff you need to be pulling out. So you're saying they're taking pictures of Greenland.
Yeah.
So we actually don't have anything on Mars.
No. Well, the rover, if there is a Mars, the rover is on Mars. But
if there is a Mars, wait a minute.
The no planets theory.
You don't think there's a Mars?
I don't know. You don't know.
Well, I've seen it.
No, you haven't.
Well, I've seen
it's getting a little
that,
esoteric.
I've seen it with my eyes.
You have?
Yeah.
You got like supervision?
No, I have.
Or did you see?
I have really big binoculars.
So I can.
I don't know. Like have
Mars?
No, dude, it's a little.
No, that's Venus, sir.
Yeah, that would be Venus. Yeah. No, okay. So
there's more. So the Mars, they have the colony, right? What the colony is supposed to look like on Mars. The buildings are going to be enacted. All that.
Well, they
stuff.
need to be under the crust because of the.
No. I'm telling you, they have a whole design.
Stop it, dude.
That
you're talking about
it's already been pre-set up, and you can.
So they're just going to send them to Greenland.
It's already there, buddy.
Right. So, but when we can, we'll just go to Greenland. Okay.
So the idea is that the outer planets may not be planets. It may be the stuff on the other side of the ice wall, and we have different lands, just like like our Earth is one part of the ice wall on this side, and then you have a different one that's is Mars and Mercury, and there's just like Admiral Byrd said, past the ice wall, we could have different planets on this plane.
No, but okay. So then, what are we looking at? When you look up, and you can, if you have a telescope, if you have really powerful binoculars, you can see the rings around Saturn. You can, like it's a physical thing you can see that is in front of you. And so, how do you explain that, Mr. Saturn with rings up there?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
No.
You never looked at stars or anything?
I have, but I don't see solid objects. I see blinky stuff.
No, stars blink. Planets do not blink, sir.
Well, in general.
I'm just letting you know. For those stargazers out there, if it blinks, it's a star. If it's solid, it's a planet. Because planets are reflecting light. They're not producing their own. So.
Then that sky is actually a tarp with pinpricks in it, and the light is shining through.
Well, if you go down the biblical idea of the waters above, so the waters below, we're seeing something that may be in outer space, but it's reflecting through water.
I do like your air quotes. You do institute air quotes really well when you. That's awesome. So you're drinking water, like
that's
what isn't this water?
Yeah,
that's sparkling water.
That's a boomer's hashtag.
So I don't understand that, but you can see. I told you I've seen a galaxy. I've seen a galaxy with my own peepers. With my own peepers, I've seen a galaxy.
I've seen.
Yeah.
You ever done DMT?
No.
You see the whole universe, man.
No, come on, guys. Let's be realistic. No, I did. I saw a galaxy. I saw Andromeda. It's right off of the handle of the Big Dipper. We've talked about this.
Yes, I know where it's at.
Right, and also too, I've seen the rings on Saturn. So like what?
I believe you.
No, you don't. You don't. If I can't, when you're like, when you said if there's a Mars, what? So okay, all right. So you don't believe there's a Mars. So
I don't know. That's the whole thing. Is I don't know.
You don't know,
but I'm pretty sure that I don't know. You don't know.
I have a good idea.
Do you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's there's a science behind it.
Tell me about it.
It's called astronomy and cosmetology. No, cosmology. No, cosmology. I'm just saying there's schools of thought with this. It's not just like some random. I don't know. Okay.
There's schools of thoughts about mermaids too.
No, there's not.
Technically, there is. If there's
there's no technical. Who is studying mermaids?
Little Mermaid was a documentary.
Who is studying what under what field of science would mermaids fall under?
Mermaidology.
Mermaidology. That is not a thing. You don't go. Hey, I'm going to Purdue next fall. Oh, great. What are you studying? Mermaidology.
Oh, with today's side, I bet you there is.
Right.
Oh, there might be. Well, okay.
I'm sure there's people walking around with 2 legs that think they're mermaids.
Actually, I could see that.
We have 2 spirit cat people in litter boxes in schools. So
I heard about that too. Whether or not to bring. But could you imagine someone a human being just pooping in a litter box?
Did you hear about the new adults that are identifying as children, so they don't have to work and somebody feeds them and all that other stuff? And then that coincides with the idea of having sex with children because they're technically children and they identify as such.
Oh my god!
Is that the Thabies phenomenon? Yeah.
Well, that's like the girl who transitioned she went to an all girls college, transitioned into a man, ran for student council president, and they didn't vote for her because they said now she's part of the white male.
Matriarchy?
The matriarchy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is woke.
Yeah.
It's like the Ouroboros.
So you can turn it to a man, and now we're not going to vote for you. I mean,
well, it makes sense because
sticking by their guns.
Because they say, well, they say that trans men are men, trans women are women. So if you're a trans man, I have no choice but to take it seriously and say that you're a man. You do not belong in a girls-only university. I think it makes perfect sense.
That's right. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's called reaping what you sow.
And the Republicans actually, so all the Democrats just voted against, voted against the idea of letting men play in women's sports, biological men playing in women's sports. Every Democrat voted against it.
Yep.
Luckily, we have sane Republicans, and it passed, so that didn't happen. But every Democrat voted for that.
That's nuts.
That's kind of weird.
But that went through the House, though, right?
Yeah, it won't pass
make it to the Senate. Yeah.
Even if it does, Biden will veto it because he's so woke. That's weird that Matt Gaetz would vote for that because he voted against the Parental Bill of Rights. Because his argument was he didn't want to expand the Department of Education. He wants to abolish it, which is okay. That's fine. So, but he voted against it. But if he votes for this bill, he'd be requesting the Department of Education to then do that which the Parental Bill of Rights would have done, which is to ensure that wokeness doesn't enter women's sports. And so I'm kind of confused as to how that works out.
Yeah, and you and I may not know that because those bills are like 800 pages.
Poison
there
bills,
might be some weird little things in there that we are not aware of. Like,
well, and they do a lot of things where they add stuff on that have nothing to do with anything.
Right. Well, and that's fair because there are poison bills. That's why when you say somebody voted against something, well, you have to see if there were like five of the worst things.
Right.
But the stated reason that Gaetz voted against that Parental Bill of Rights is that he does not want, according to him, the Department of Education to have too much power, which, it's a behemoth anyway. But
yeah, a gigantic waste of money.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It just sucks. Like almost every conversation goes back to like trans. It's like, dang,
that's the narrative.
It's the thing. It's just getting pushed, man. It's getting pushed.
It's definitely getting pushed.
It's nuts. It's super crazy.
Why the kids?
Why the kids?
Why the kids?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something lighthearted now. You guys always suck this out of me.
Okay, so lighthearted. Do you see the video of the Aurora Borealis? So the Northern Lights.
Okay.
And there was a galaxy-looking thing that happened in the Aurora Borealis. They're now saying is the SpaceX rocket booster, but if you see it, it looks like a galaxy spinning through.
That's cool.
It's a really cool video.
That's very cool.
Very cool video.
Well, you know what the Aurora Borealis is, right?
I know what it is.
Yeah.
It's the idea that the solar flares are bouncing off of our atmosphere and creating that look.
The generation out of the poles.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're not sure that Mars exists, but you're
exactly.
Hold on. I'm just telling you what you think the Aurora Borealis is. Let's go on the idea of what the Masons think the Aurora Borealis is.
This is what I think. Not the Jasons.
Black sun in
Masons.
the center of our galaxy of the idea of a flat Earth, where the North Pole is actually a hole to the center. There's a black sun below that allows for rays of light to come through, and the Aurora Borealis is what you're seeing, the reflection from light below up, not above down.
So, but I'm saying is that it goes around the atmosphere and it's released at the poles. That's why you have north and south.
Do you have them at the same time?
No, it's different times of the year because like it hits the atmosphere at different times. So you'll have it up north, and then during the summer for the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere will then have it.
Yeah, at the pole.
At the pole, at the air quotes.
Air quotes, yeah.
So if you look at the idea from the Masons, was created the compass is an exact thing for the light from the black sun coming up out of the earth and actually bounces off the interior of the firmament.
See, and I still don't understand how you say you don't believe in Mars.
So that right there there's nothing outward of us.
I know, but you say firmament, which is the Bible.
Firmament is the Bible.
I know. It's just very interesting. I'm just saying, it's just very interesting on what you pick and choose to believe. You see, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't, like, why is the Bible like?
I'd say he's a perfect Christian if he's picking and choosing what he wants to believe.
Wow, look at that. Maybe. I mean, I guess that's what.
When I have to talk to the lay people, I have to make it.
Sure.
Make
Well,
sense.
firmant. Yeah, firmament. The lay person's going to pick up on the word.
Mars
firmament.
is the lay people.
Right.
Firmament was my idea.
And that's very biblical.
Yeah, the 4 pillars that hold up the earth with the firmament. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know.
This is out of my pay grade.
Yes. The quagmire that is your spirit. Ben, you are wound tight though. I tell you, it's good. It's good. 4 pillars. Doesn't know if Mars exists.
I don't.
But you have your hair.
Never been there.
Your hair looks great this week.
It does not actually. It needs to be.
You don't think so?
No, I got 11 days and I go get it retightened. When it gets to this point where I get all these fuzzies and stuff, it freaks me out, buddy.
What's it freak you out?
'Cause it's all like discombobulated and it's all like I've stuck my finger in a light socket with dreads and I just need them all tightened.
Because you like him. You like the clean dread look.
Yeah, you remember I came from a military haircut for the last 39
You
years.
did, yeah.
To dreadlocks. So now when the dreadlocks get a little messy, it kind of irks me. So I'm trying to learn. This is part of my meditation in life is trying to let go.
Right.
And the dreadlocks was happening.
So what did you like wake up one day and you're like, I'm gonna take dreadlocks, or was like something you were thinking about getting dreadlocks, or was it just like a?
So I was thinking about getting dreadlocks about 3 years before I met you, 4 years before I met you. Then when I met you, I was in the process of growing my hair out, and the district manager at that company told me the managers that I had to cut my hair and my trim my beard, or I was fired the next day. And they did that to me 3 times over the course of my career there, I guess you'd say. Each time I quit. And then the last time I did it, I'm like, you know what? I've been growing my hair out. I'm going with dreads. Wish I would have done it sooner.
Well, they look really shabby today. I was going to say that.
Look shabby.
I don't know. That's interesting. Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to Poly Nonsense. Check us out on YouTube on Poly Nonsense Podcasts on YouTube. polynonsense.com is our website, which we're working on. And we're going to be on other platforms, which we're also working on. But if you're listening to us, please let us know what you think. If you have any questions, if you don't like us, let us know. If you like us, let us know. Just let us know. On behalf of Captain Kirk, Monsieur Weber, and myself, thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace out.